Problem 2. Finding all the zeros of a polynomial function. What are the zeros of f of x equals x to the fourth plus x cubed minus 7x squared minus 9x minus 18? Step 1. Use a graphing calculator, or Desmos, to find any real roots. The graph of y equals x to the fourth plus x cubed minus 7x squared minus 9x minus 18 shows real zeros at x equals negative 3 and x equals 3. Step 2. Factor out the linear factors x plus 3 and x minus 3. Use synthetic division twice. So we can see synthetic division set up on the left. For our factor x plus 3, reversing the plus 3 to a negative 3 in our half rectangle and performing synthetic division. Establishing new coefficients and a remainder of 0. And having used synthetic division to factor out an x plus 3, we'll place our resulting values, 1, negative 2, negative 1, and negative 6, in our new synthetic division and divide by the factor, or divide out the factor, x minus 3. So a positive 3 in our half square, perform synthetic division, find a remainder of 0, and now we can state that our original expression, x to the fourth plus x cubed minus 7x squared minus 9x minus 18, can be rewritten as the binomial x plus 3 times the binomial x minus 3 times x squared plus x plus 2. Noting that the quadratic x squared plus x plus 2 doesn't factor easily, we'll use the quadratic formula and find the complex roots of x squared plus x plus 2 equals 0. In this case, a is 1, b is 1, and c is 2. Recall the quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2a. We'll substitute our values of a, b, and c into the quadratic formula and simplify to find the complex roots are negative 1 plus I times the square root of 7 over 2 and negative 1 minus I times the square root of 7 over 2. Step 4. The four zeros of the function are negative 3, 3, negative 1 plus I times the square root of 7 over 2, and negative 1 minus I times the square root of 7 over 2. By the fundamental theorem of algebra, there can be no other zeros. Your turn. Part A. What are all the zeros of the function g of x equals 2x to the fourth power minus 3x cubed minus x minus 6? And part B, a reasoning item. The graph of f of x equals x to the fifth plus 4x to the fourth minus 3x cubed minus 12x squared minus 4x minus 4 is shown at the right. Part 1. Use the turning points to explain why the graph does not show all of the real zeros of the function. And part 2. The graph of g of x equals f of x plus 4 is a translation of the graph of f, shown at the right, up 4 units. How many real zeros of g will the graph of g show? Explain.